game like this where you're able to start great and still finish great?
Yeah, I mean, at this point in the season, and really any point in the season, there's a lot of stuff that we're like working on behind the scenes that we want to get into the game. And so it's really that, I thought the stuff that we carried over from film was really good to start the game, and it wasn't perfect throughout 48 minutes. There's some possessions that we want back, but I thought the competitive spirit of the group was really good for 48 minutes.
You talked earlier this year about Javonte and kind of what you guys saw to want to bring him into this organization. He had a great game tonight. How have you seen him grow with you guys?
Yeah, I mean, love him as a person. He's a really good person. He's all about the team. He's obviously talented and can do a lot of things on the floor. He's really grown in terms of some of his playmaking out there on the floor. What was the question? Sorry.
How have you seen Javonte kind of grow with this organization compared to where he was?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is what he already had. I mean, what attracted us to him was, we talked to him a couple times, who he is as a person, kind of how he was raised by a great family. And he's kind of grown with the organization just in terms of the on-court stuff. We've used him on ball, we've used him off ball. He's, like I said, he's all about the team, he plays within the team, and he's just continued to get better as a result of that.
The free-point shooting kind of speaks for itself, but what about like Flagler's other areas, kind of as a scorer? Like, where does that stand out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously know him well. The thing that doesn't really surprise me, but that I'm always impressed by with him is his poise. He, again, is another guy who can play on the ball or off of it, and he just never really gets rattled, and he's a very predictable player in terms of what you're going to get out of him when he's on the floor, the shots that he shoots, the decisions he makes with the ball. He's another guy who really competes at a high level, and so having him here is obviously a great addition.
How did you see him sort of bounce back from that injury, a few months ago? It seemed like he was really on pace to have nights like this.
Flagler?
Yeah, Flagler. And then to see him put it all together the way he did today, would you say it's one of his better performances you've seen out of him?
Yeah, I mean, certainly box score, really impressive. The thing that about him is when we first got him, he was injured as well, so we kind of got to see him through the same process last year, just in terms of a lot of hidden work, a lot of rehab work, a lot of stuff behind the scenes. He's a real pro, so he's never wavered in any of those moments, and so nothing he does on the floor surprises me because of that. He's just such a stable person with how he works and his approach. So seeing the results is great, but again, nothing surprises me with him.
This is something that we've talked about with the Thunder, getting healthier and the rotations changing, but a guy like Jay, it swung back to him these last couple of games. In the G League as a player and as a coach, you've seen that too, from even beyond injuries, like the call-ups and send-downs. What behind the scenes do players have to do whenever, maybe a guy like Noah, who at times is your starting center, at times, you guys bring down Dillon and Carlson. What does a player like that have to do to stay engaged and stay ready for whenever those minutes do swing back to them?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big one that we talk about a lot. It's the skill of keeping yourself ready. You mentioned a couple guys. The other guy to me that's nailed that with our team is Cam Brown. He started for us. He's come off the bench. He doesn't play when some of these guys are down here. Last game was a huge comeback in the game, and he played 30 minutes, and tonight he didn't play until the fourth. I'd like to think that our environment helps with that. We just have an environment that is constantly evolving, and it's constantly putting pressure on everybody in the building to perform at a high level. Some of it is obviously within themselves, coming in every day, getting your work in, having a 0-0 mentality with your minutes, with your role that you played in the game, and then staying engaged when you're in or when you're not. It's something we talk about a lot. We have a lot of guys, I think, who have nailed that with their approach, but it's a skill that you got to have. There's a ton of examples of that. Jay was a great one.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.